Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to today's practice. Super excited to be here with you today as we start in seated pose, hands gently on our knees, just taking a couple of deep breaths, just quietening down the mind and the body, and then taking an inhale as we bring our hands to our heart center and set our intention for the day. This is a beautiful practice today for anybody that's suffering from lower back pain or that feels a little bit locked up in the hips and that sort of lumbar area. I came into this practice very stiff and sore, and by the end of it, I felt amazing. So I hope you get the same benefits from this today. Just placing our hands back to our knees. And we're just going to breathe in as we take our chest high towards the sky, dipping the head back, and then pulling back on our knees as we curve our spine towards the back. Inhaling, taking our head and heart high. Exhaling, rounding through the spine. It's going to roll through this motion 5 times. Just go at your own pace and sync each move in with your breath. So pushing the chest out, pushing the abs forward, and then pulling everything back. Head dipping down. Just warming up that lower back at the moment. There's not going to be any twists or turns in this practice today. We're solely focusing on the lower back and the hip area. So I'm just going to turn to the side so I can show you this, but you want to have your hands planted down on the earth. Fingers are facing away from the body. Head's going back. Chest is going high towards the sky. Our sit bones are planted down and our legs are crossed. And we're just taking some deep breaths here. Getting a nice curve in the spine. And then coming into tabletop. I'm going to roll through some cat-cows. So breathing in, dipping the abs to the floor, exhaling into cat, rolling through the shoulders and the back. Head back as we come back into cow. And then taking our gaze between our legs as we curl back into cat. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. It's going to roll through this 5 times. Again, sync each pose in with your breath. And then just walking the hands out a little bit ahead of the shoulders and then dipping our forehead down to the floor and pushing our chest towards the ground while our hips are high. We've got this 90-degree angle from our toes to our knees up to our hips. So we go into this puppy dog pose. Arms along. You can bring the forearms down onto the mat if that's good for you, but if you have any shoulder problems at all, just be wary of this pose. It can put a little bit of pressure on the shoulders, so don't push past any limitations, especially if there's any pain there at all. You should just feel a nice little stretch in the shoulders as well as the thoracic. And then we're just going to untuck the toes into downward facing dog. Taking the hips high. My legs were so tight in this first downward dog. I look forward to the day where I just feel really flexible and flowy and free in my body. Coming down onto our forearms now from the downward facing dog into dolphin pose. So fingers are spread wide, our forearms are connected to the earth, our hips are still high. If you can, maybe bring your feet closer to your head. I'm very inflexible, so I could not do that. But if you can take the hips higher, amazing. And then coming back, dropping down to our knees, untucking the toes. And we're just going to run through that sequence again. So inhaling as we go into cow, exhaling into cat pose. Inhaling, exhaling, making sure we're engaging the arms in this motion as well, from the wrist, the elbows to the shoulders, to the biceps, the triceps. I'm going to be working all the muscles through the arms. And then when you've gone through 5 times, just taking the arms forward in front of the head, coming into puppy dog pose, dropping the head to the earth, sort of pushing the chest back towards the thighs, so you can feel it in the middle of the back, around the thoracic area. And continuing to breathe deeply in this pose. And slowly walking the hands back underneath the shoulders. Kicking back into downward facing dog. And then coming into dolphin pose. Forearms onto the mat. Fingers are spread wide. Your gaze is heading back towards the feet. Hips are high. Legs straight. If you can get your feet flat on the floor, amazing. If not, it's okay to have the heels raised. And then drop into our knees. And we're running through the sequence again. So 5 cows. Inhaling. Exhaling. And then walking the hands out in front, dropping that chest towards our knees, forehead rests gently on the ground. Remembering to breathe. Slowly coming out, tucking the toes, coming back into our downward facing dog. Bringing the forearms to the floor in front of us, to our dolphin pose. Should be feeling a nice stretch in the back of the legs here. And then slowly coming up and then dropping the knees. It's going to sit back into a closed-legged child's pose. So knees, legs are together, arms are down. And slowly pushing yourself up. And we're going to tuck the toes underneath, sit down on our heels, sitting up nice and tall, and then just placing the hands on the lumbar, just pushing your back forward and dipping your head back. Just going to do this a couple of times, just really gently, not overdoing it. And then kneeling a little bit higher, doing the same thing. If you want to stay with sitting on your heels, you can. Otherwise, this just gives you a little bit of a deeper stretch. And then if you want to go one step further, bringing the hands down to meet the feet, taking the head back, chest towards the sky, pushing the pelvis forward. And now coming down into a seated position. Slowly lower down onto our back. And then tilting our pelvis towards our head. And then taking our chest high towards the sky. Exhaling, tilting the pelvis. Inhaling, taking the chest high, breathing in, filling that rib cage up with air. Just going to roll through this sequence 5 times. Find your flow with your breath and your body. And see if you can get a little bit more curvature through the back each time. And then lifting the hips. I'm just going to do a few bridge poses here. So on the inhale, raising the hips up, really squeezing the glutes. And when you come down, rolling from the shoulders through the middle of the back, through the lower back, and our hips are the last. Come down to the ground and then we reverse it. So hips go up first, then the lower back, then the middle, then the upper back, and then reverse it to come back down. So breathing in, exhaling on the way down. Breathing in, raising up, really squeezing the glutes. Going to interlace the fingers underneath the body now, pulling the shoulders away from the ears, and you should get this beautiful stretch through the biceps with this pose. And then releasing, rolling back down to earth. Hugging the knees in towards the chest. And then unraveling the legs, stretching the legs long. Coming into our final resting pose. Face the palms up if you want to create more abundance today, or you can face them down if you feel like you need a little bit of grounding. I'm going to be here for a few minutes. So I'm just going to take you through a full body scan. So letting the feet fall heavy to the sides, relaxing the toes, the feet, the heels, the ankles, and feeling grateful for our feet and everything they do for us. They carry us all through the day. Relaxing the calves, the knees, the hamstrings, the quadriceps, and being really grateful for our legs and everything they allow us to do. Relaxing the buttocks, the pelvis, our abdominals and lower back. Relaxing the upper back, the chest, the shoulders. Relaxing the biceps, triceps, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers. And then relaxing and releasing any tension in the neck, in the jaw, maybe dropping the tongue away from the roof of the mouth, taking the tension out of the face and the forehead, relaxing the skull, the crown, and just falling deeper and deeper into relaxation. Letting go and surrendering to the peace and serenity that you're feeling right now. Maybe connecting with spirit, remembering who you are at the core. And then slowly bringing some movement back into the body. Stretching, maybe stretching the fingers and the hands. And when you're ready, rolling over to one side. Taking a moment before planting one palm down and pushing yourself up into the seated position. Maybe crossing your legs the opposite way you normally cross them. And just one more time, just relaxing, checking in with the body, the mind, the spirit. And then deep breath in, windmilling the arms up above our head, bringing them to prayer position at our third eye. May we have kind and loving thoughts today, lowering them to our mouth. May we speak kind and loving words today as we lower them to our heart space. May we have kind and loving intentions today. And wherever you are in the world, may this be a day for you to remember. Namaste.